My name is Tyler Koblasa, founder and CEO of Mingly. And Mingly is a next generation form of address book and relationship management tool. And what we do is we bring together all of your contacts from Gmail, from LinkedIn, from Facebook, from Twitter, and bring them all into one place so that the important people in your life never slip through the cracks. And we're really focused on enabling you to build the most important relationships. There may be hundreds or thousands of contacts that enter your life. There's a certain subset of those that will help you reach your personal goals, professional goals, whether that's recruiting a new co-founder, whether that's raising capital, whether that's a new sales lead, whatever that might be. So really just kind of lightweight relationship management we call kind of above the funnel, making sure that you stay in touch with whoever's the most important, alerting you to important events in people's lives. So really there's this kind of social information overload currently through Facebook and LinkedIn, and there's many updates that come in throughout the day, but truthfully some of those updates aren't the most critical. If someone took their dog for a walk, it's really what's more important is if someone changes jobs, moves to a new city, has a birthday, gets married, the important things in people's lives that give us a relevant reason to reach out. So if it passes more than, let's say, 3 months since you last spoke with someone, we'll alert you to that. And also just making sure to aggregate and bring together the last time that you talked to them. So if it was on Twitter or it was an email, it doesn't matter what channel, it's really about the person. Okay, so the previous businesses I'd bootstrapped and really kind of built with either done a lot of coding myself and used outsourced resources and local contractors. And really with Mingly, we had to build a team, and specifically that was learning about how do you structure early stage offers and opportunities to someone, whether it's bringing on a co-founder or bringing on a contractor that's working at a very low market rate. How to really kind of be as cash conscious when you're working with a very small amount of kind of seed or pre-seed capital. Being very creative, and I think one of the most challenging things can be is it really comes down to being able to clearly come up with a compelling opportunity and offer for someone, and also be able to sell them on that vision and that product. So on the good side, the product and the opportunity has resonated with many, and people felt the pain personally, so that's been easier. We've had to learn and kind of go through that process of understanding, getting over how's the financing structured, and how does the financing work into your burn that then relates to what can you afford to pay based off what resources you absolutely need to have to reach that certain goal. So really just kind of navigating the early stage raising capital from first it's friends, family, a couple angel investors, and then doing your first seed round. Just that whole learning process. There's quite a bit of cycle time, and also one hurdle we overcame was I'd have to say whoever it is you're working with definitely have some sort of understanding and agreement in place early on, because one person can hear one thing, and it really, when you're getting into close a seed round with a fund, that can hold things up and be a problem. So definitely get one of the hurdles specifically was getting good counsel, or knowing to get good counsel and doing so. And most attorneys will work with you on whatever the costs are, and then definitely using your attorney as an advisor and as counsel, not just pushing paper. Definitely understanding where to focus as far as a product that can potentially live anywhere, it's difficult. You have to pick one and just the focus. First we thought we were going to have a Mingly for Outlook immediately out the gate. Then it was Mingly for Gmail, and then you get into mobile clients, and we definitely started building out a mobile client and put it temporarily on pause while we worked out some logistics on Mingly for Gmail, which is the first product we released. So I'd say kind of focus and picking one, and then really just talking to hundreds and hundreds of customers. I think that process, we chatted with a good number in the beginning, but that's not hundreds. So I'd say the customer development, the lean process, absolutely critical. Never skip it. I'd say the casual, kind of passive type of conversations you can have over Twitter, and also understanding mutual contacts across LinkedIn and Facebook have been extremely beneficial. Understanding who knows someone and the amount of closeness and who talks to who really allows you to reach someone that might be the your target advisor or someone that you really would like to work with. So really using Twitter to understand who people are communicating with, discovering the right contacts that are related to a specific problem. So I'd say taking advantage of the social networks and really not just asking and not being shy and just putting yourself out there. Just you'll get plenty of no's before you get a yes, but you get enough no's and you do get a yes. So it's pretty much a numbers game, and you're iterating around conversations with potential investors, advisors, potential team members. So we're currently, we launched Mingly for Gmail, the first version of the product, towards the end of Q3, Q4 last year. And we went into the holidays pretty quick right after, which created some turbulence with metrics, numbers, retention. And it's now we're coming right into Q1 of 2012. And the numbers specifically, really understanding your numbers it can be very foggy. And I'd say the abyss, you could be looking down an abyss, but with one of our advisors, we like to kind of, I'd say startups very much like sailing a boat. First, it's a small, 20-foot, small sailboat, and then it's a 25-foot, then it's a 30-foot, and it's really you're sailing through fog. And without your instrumentation, whether that's normally in a sailboat, you have radar if you're in the fog. So with startup, your metrics are everything, and metrics along with you have your quantitative analysis, but also your qualitative. So just your customer interviews and customer development process. So the abyss the fog bank / abyss that we're looking into now, really gets into understanding exactly why and how certain users are doing what they're doing. Getting into, if you're familiar with pirate metrics, definitely that's kind of live and breathe that. But looking at activation and then retention, and then are you retaining the right type of users? Are you measuring the right subset? And then being able to actually digest that into daily and then also weekly cohorts, which gets to be a lot of data. And then you can get caught up just trying to prepare all that data. So right now we're kind of weeding through all this data, and some of it being metrics coming from tracking and analytics, but also being from just interviews that you're doing and making sure that you are interviewing the correct users, not just any user. Really make sure they fit the right persona. We participated in a 3-month residency program here in the Bay called Luxor, the Lean Ux Residency, and it applies Lean to product design and UX, and one of our UX advisors is actually here. But specifically that kind of applying a process and having a process to guide the madness and get through the fog is everything. And without a process, you're kind of spinning wheels without a clear way to test and iterate. And I think the iteration process and constantly being able to pull in quantitative and qualitative data to either validate or invalidate certain assumptions you have is key. So I think understanding the problem and really the problem resonating with me, I think there's a underlying point that everything you do comes down to relationships and people. And without people, it's much more difficult to achieve anything. Whether that's a new job that you're looking for, whether that's a new nonprofit that you're raising money for, building a team, or a documentary that you're trying to put together. And the inspiration for me fundamentally kind of came from, it's actually in the health-related space, in a documentary, kind of preventative medical education education system that I was working on kind of on the side, and I realized that there wasn't a great way to keep track of the important people that you meet beyond an address book or adding them on into one of these directories, a social network essentially. And having a solution and being able to have a tool that solves a personal problem but also affects thousands of people's lives really is everything, in that it will help everyone reach their goals easier and faster. And being able to pull on principles that are coming from Dale Carnegie or Keith Ferrazzi, and these are proven relationship management processes, and bringing those and making them accessible and available to the masses to allow people to really focus on relationships that are important. Because without people, most of the time you hear Bob got this new gig or this job or this deal came from a referral, and it's all about essentially who you know, but not just who, it's how well you keep in touch and nurture those relationships. So also I gotta say Steve Jobs has been an inspiration in the sense of the attention to simplicity and really just it's easy to complicate things, add features, and with a product like ours, it's been easy to, one user asks for something, another user asks for something, and you constantly have feature creep. But then thinking about, well, what would Apple do, what would Steve have done? It's important to really look at simplicity and beauty and really make beautiful products. So I'd say that's also been key, and what Apple's done has been an inspiration. So I gotta say a lot of inspiration comes from my dad. My dad lived under the former Czechoslovakia and Czech Republic. He was there during the occupation when Germany and the Soviets were there, and he had bullets flying over his head and interrogated by secret police. And he, took an early liking to film, and went to the Bootstrapped Film Institute in Prague, and then said, I want to go to Hollywood to make movies. So he arranged a time when he essentially escaped, jumped off a ship into the freezing kind of Athens harbor on one trip to Greece, took asylum there for about a year, and then took a steamer across the Atlantic, saw the Statue of Liberty there, came in through Ellis Island, and came to America, then landed in New York, made his way across out west to what LA at the time, I think we're talking like the 50s, early 60s, was very not the LA we know today, and it was kind of the early days of the film industry, and started cleaning film, and really kind of worked his way up through operating, and he worked as a director of photography, cinematographer for about 40 years in Hollywood, and kind of reached his dream and really kind of stepped over all these hurdles from literally your government and your world being controlled to doing whatever it is that you can do. So I'd say he's kind of had a wild life, wild ride, and I definitely, he's definitely a sense of inspiration. And also, I gotta name one of our investors, who's Bill Gross from Idealab. Bill was one of the forefathers of search, what we know today. One of the first search engines, GoTo.com, which turned into Overture, which was the first paid search prior to Google. And really just, that being one of those kind of forefathers that he practiced Lean 10 years ago, and Lean's not really anything new, but it's just really that kind of discipline and really just understanding product and vision, and so I'd say Bill's also been an inspiration.